Okay, so for finding secant, cosecant, and cotangent angles, we have problem 1a, which is secant theta is equal to -2 with a domain, which is 0 is less than or equal to theta, which is less than or equal to 2 pi. First thing we want to do for all these problems is figure out what we know. And what we know for this problem is that secant theta is equal to 1 over cosine theta. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring cosine theta over and have the fraction 1 over cosine theta over here across from it. And we're going to take -2, which is secant theta is equal to -2, and we're going to put it under where cosine theta is, which gives us cos theta is equal to -1/2. We're going to go down to the unit circle. We're going to find where on cos, which is the x-axis or the horizontal axis, where it equals to -1/2, which happens to be 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3. We know it's over 3 because it is a 30, 60, 90 triangle, and the only two options are 4 over 3 or over 6. And then 1b is cosecant theta is equal to 2 over root 3. First thing is that we know that cosecant theta is equal to 1 over sine theta. So we bring sine theta over. We have root 3 over 2 because you flip it, because it's 1 over sine. So you flip it to get sine. And then we go down to the unit circle and we figure out where on the vertical line is root 3 over 2, which happens to be 2 pi over 3 and pi over 3. We know it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle because one of the sides is root 3 over 2. So the two sides of a 30, 60, 90 triangle are 1/2 and root 3 over 2. Now you're going to pause and you're going to do C and then carry on to 2. Okay, so we have 2a, which is secant theta is equal to -1, and we know that secant theta is equal to 1 over cosine theta. So we're going to bring cosine over, like we did for 1a, and we're going to have 1 over cosine theta across from it, and we're going to replace what secant theta is equal to, which happens to be -1, and that simplifies to cosine theta is equal to -1. I'm going to go down to the unit circle and find where on the horizontal axis, or where cosine lies, where -1 would be, which is only at pi. Because if you look at the axis, if you go left, it's -1. If you go right, it's +1. There's only two options. So it only happens to be at pi. And then you have 2b. We know that cosecant theta is equal to 1 over sine theta. The first thing we're going to do is simplify this equation by subtracting 2 root 2 from both sides, which gives us -2 cosecant theta, which is equal to 2 root 2. And then we're going to divide each side by -2, which simplifies to cosecant theta is equal to 2 root 2 over -2, which then simplifies to -root 2. And like in the other problem 1b, since it's cosecant, we're going to bring down sine theta, and across from it, we're going to bring down the fraction 1 over sine theta, and replace sine theta with -root 2, which gives us sine theta is equal to -1 over root 2, which is another way of saying -root 2 over 2. So we're going to go down to the unit circle. I'm going to find where on the vertical axis where sine is equal to negative root 2 over 2, which happens to be 5 pi over 4 and 7 pi over 4. Now you're going to stop and you're going to do C. Okay, so since we know, for 3a, since we know that secant is equal to 1 over cosine, first we're going to simplify this equation by subtracting 3 root 3, which gives us 3 secant theta is equal to negative 2 root 3. Then we're going to divide it by 3, which gives us secant theta is equal to negative 2 root 3 over 3. And since we're trying to solve for cosine, I'm just going to flip it because secant is the opposite of that. Cosine over 1. And so cosine theta is equal to negative root 3 over 2. And so you go down to the unit circle and you find where on the horizontal line where cosine is equal to negative root 3 over 2, which happens to be 5 pi over 6 and 7 pi over 6. But the domain restricts any answers in the quadrants number 1 and number 2, so the only answer is 7 pi over 6. And for 3b, the first thing you want to do is simplify the equation by subtracting 4 root 2 both sides, and you get 3 cosecant theta, which is equal to negative 2 root 2. And then you divide each side by 3, which gives you cosecant theta is equal to negative 3 root 2 over 3, which simplifies to negative root 2. And then you have we're solving for sine theta. And since cosecant is equal to 1 over sine theta, you're just going to bring 1 over sine theta down across from sine theta and replace sine theta with the answer, which was negative root 2. It then simplifies to negative root 2 over 2. And in the unit circle, on the vertical line, sine theta is equal to negative root 2 over 2 at 5 pi over 4 and 7 pi over 4. But the domain restricts any answers in quadrants number 1 through 3. So the only answer is 7 pi over 4. Now you're going to pause so you can do C by yourself. And lastly, we're only going to do one of these, and then you can do 4b and C by yourself. So 4a is where secant theta is undefined with the domain 0 is less than theta, which is less than 2 pi. And we know that secant theta is equal to 1 over cosine. And so secant is undefined where the denominator is 0. So that goes for secant, cosecant, and cotangent. 0 has to be the denominator if it is undefined. Therefore, we go down to the unit circle and we find where cosine is equal to 0, and that happens to be at pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. And now do B and C by yourself.